All right, Proverbs 5. Let's call this one Her Words, or My Son, Her Words. Understanding that these first 7 Proverbs once again seem to be directed at Solomon, quite possibly counseling his son. And in this psalm, he is not only warning his son about the words of the forbidden woman, another theme throughout the first 7 Psalms, but he's going to end up talking about some things you want to be careful of in wicked men as well. But in verses 1 through 2, he is once again going to call his son to be attentive. For in verses 3 through 6, he is going to say the forbidden woman's lips drip honey and her speech can be smoother than oil. But in the end, her ways, or the path to her house, actually leads to Sheol, or death. And then adding to that, even when she is trying to be sincere, her ways can wander in a way that she doesn't even know, stray, and are actually walking the paths that lead to danger. So then he is going to call his son's attention again to listen in verses 7 through 10 as he divides his counsel into 2 portions. In verses roughly 7 through 14, he is going to be like, do not go near the door of her house. But rather in verses 15 through 20, he's going to say, rather go to the house, or go home instead to your own woman, brother. Therefore, you will be able to appreciate a sense of peace and essentially enduring stability that you will never be able to appreciate in the home or in the arms of the forbidden woman. Going back to a theme we saw throughout the Psalms, understanding that there is a quote unquote grace period to sin in which you can seem to have a greater peace in shady places, but that peace does not endure. And so, like David counseled us through the Psalms to understand the difference between the temporary peace that can come with cutting corners. Likewise, Solomon is helping us to realize the temporary peace you can find in doing dirt that simply does not hold up over time. And so, to put it a different way, it has a short shelf life, and that kind of peace curdles like milk, in comparison to the kind of peace you can find with your own woman, no matter what kinds of adversity staying loyal to her may bring. As he is going to go on through the end of the chapter, verses 21 through 23, to say he's not just picking on the sisters, because you have to be careful of the wicked man who likewise, even when he is at his best or has the best of intentions, is led astray by his folly. Understanding that the thing that might have caught my attention most about this proverb is the thing that the forbidden woman and the wicked man seem to have in common, among other things, the fact that at their best, they are still offering bad advice, because bad advice long term is really all they have to give. But as verse 4 says, in the end, she is bitter as wormwood, sharp as a 2-edged sword. Her feet go down to death. There is once again that grace period where even the world, or people who don't regard God, can give good advice or even great advice over the short term. But much like a worm on a hook looks like a meal to a fish, it ends up with that fish. If everything works out for that fisherman, it ends up with that fish on the plate. And so likewise, even the best advice of the wayward woman or the wicked man has a short shelf life. Once again, it curdles like milk out of the fridge, only to leave you with something curdled or spoiled in the end. Understanding that apart from God, the shelf life on wisdom is short, which is why we sometimes say, my prayer for you is my prayer for me. May we live the kind of lives to which God is eager to add his wisdom.